Hello, people. This week I read Tiamat's Wrath. This is book 8, book 8 out of 9 of the Expanse series. You can't see it, but it's that little mark right there. I made little tiny versions of them, and they're all right there. I actually love it. I'll show them in the last video. The last Expanse video, not the last video I make. In any case, this is the second to last book. And first, by this time, you will have to have buy-in. So I would not recommend if you get this book randomly out of all the others, don't start with this one. Just don't do it. You're missing out on too much of the feel. You need the other books. 1 through 3 I'm okay with you starting with. If you need to be I'd read them all. I read them all. They're all great so far. But that's what I'll say. Also, bit of a tangent, but I was thinking this sort of as I'm reading the book. Now, I don't say that this is anything intentional to the authors. This is not a criticism in any way. It's just sort of me. What is this feeling? Right? It's a long series. It's been fantastic. And half of me is just dying to get to the end. I want to know how it ends. But the other half of me is not wanting it to end because I want the ride to continue. When I'm done with the next book, right? I'll be done with the next book. There's no more. It's not just characters I'm losing. I don't just stop hanging out with Holden and the Rosie crew. It's the Rosie. It's being on a spaceship. I know it's weird. It sounds weird, but this is what we do. We read books. We get into them. I'm gonna lose that. Not lose, but I'm gonna detach from the whole world, so to speak. And so I'm torn now between really wanting to finish and not wanting it to end. It's such a weird feeling. It only comes really from long book series. I think this is part of what The Lord of the Rings does so good. It has that appendices. So you're done. You don't want to be done. And you just burn through the appendices, which are this weird chopped up history. And then you're sort of let off very easy. Accidental, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he planned it. He's very good. Dune doesn't do this. Dune, the guy, bless his heart, Frank Herbert dies and just leaves us on a cliffhanger. It's very tragic. But I still wouldn't trade any of those books for anything. But back to this book. Yes. What do we think of this book? This book's fantastic. I loved it. Again, it's really great modern science fiction. So we will have enough action. We will have enough big concepts. We chew on solid physics. But we don't let sort of any of the things stop the fun from happening. I want space crap to happen sometimes. You see some where it's, I would say, very hyper-realistic. And it's hard to fit aliens into hyper-realistic. But I'm in space and I kind of want aliens. This sort of bridges the gap. Everything they do on these ships, it feels very real. I can touch the walls. I can see the crash couches. I understand the handholds. We never lose track of being in a spaceship. Even here, where we get some moments where you'll get on land and they're oh, right, this is what land feels like because I've been on a spaceship so long. We get these kind of moments, but you never lose track of it. But we can also interject these really fun, wild alien craps in because of the proto-molecule. So we start, it's a prologue. I don't normally read prologues, but I'm eating all of this book. We start with Holden. And he's attending Avasarla's funeral on Lyconia. because Duarte, the big emperor, wants that funeral on Laconia, he's trying to force consolidate the ins and outs of the sort of the universe onto his planet. It was built bigger than it needed to be, anticipating all the inflows of all these people from, other governments, etc., etc. I think it's sort of the same way your Peter the Great made St. Petersburg. He just forced every government official to move to St. Petersburg and build a house. It was sort of swamp area, and by the time he was done, it was one of the great cities. Sometimes you just force it, and if you bring enough of the power people, it becomes its own thing. He wants that to start to happen. So this is part of that, I guess, evolution. The city itself is it's hyper modern, but because it's so new, we haven't cleared everything out. Meaning, you're putting hyper modern just in the middle of wilderness. The rest of the planet is essentially wilderness, unkempt. It'd be like the Mayan temples if they were new tomorrow in the middle of the jungle. This kind of energy is what we have, where you're safe in town. There's some stuff out of town, but it never comes in town because of defenses. But you can see it just right across the way. Throughout the books, Avasarala has been a great character, but she was old when the book started, and it's 30 years now, so her time's up. She died of old age after one of the most impactful lives anyone's ever had. So you feel bad, but you don't feel gutted. It's a natural course, and I think you're okay with it. Kashri. We get a better introduction into Kashri, which is Avasarala's daughter or granddaughter. I don't remember exactly. In any case, it's that same snark mouth attitude, eyes up, alert. And you get a continuation. You feel kind of like, I feel good that it's there. I wonder if she'll be more in the next book. I like it. I'm having fun. LV Okoye, I think, is our first point of view. Now, this is what these books have done since the very first. It's a very, very genius way to get across a story. It flows very well. You get multiple characters in a singular story. So, this is World War II, and I'll go to a general, a cook, a foot soldier, and a pilot, right? I get 4 different people, and they will, at times, these days for the general, these days for the cook, and then these days for the pilot, and also at other times, the same days seen by the 3 different points of view. So you can almost see it all directions. And of course, as the reader, we get it all because we're reading through it all. Our authors never lose track of who's talking, what they'd be interested in. Never lose track of things that they should know or wouldn't know. Holden doesn't know some things Naomi's doing. Naomi doesn't know anything LV's doing, etc., etc. When they re-meet up, there will be quick exchanges of ideas, get people caught back up. This kind of energy. It really allows a much more complex story. And so what LV's doing is, because in the last book, he blurts her name out as soon as he sees the bullet, they call it. The weird void energy thing that they think is the entity that took out the people who made the ring gates, the protomolecule race. That's what they call them. That the protomolecule is their tool, maybe not accurate. We got to call them something. A lot of people know he's Grogu. A lot of other people say Baby Yoda. I got to call him something. So she gets dragged into this essentially by Holden just blurting her name out. Because in one of the other books, she was on Illis. Illis had this kind of facility. And she, like, basically is the first human to interact with one of these void zones anywhere in the galaxy. She's had more interactions with it than anyone, and Holden's had side interactions. So the two of them have singular knowledge that Duarte now needs because he wants to fight the cause. He says, we got to take it to him. To that end, he's made Elvie a major, given her a military rank, given her the Falcon, which is one of the fastest ships that they've made, hyper advanced, and he's sending her out into dead zones. These will be places somehow that the protomolecule network is blacking out. So I see a hand, but then this finger's missing. You can see it by that it's missing. We just send someone over here to it. Let's see why it's off. Let's poke it. That's what they're doing. Now, for her point, it's just scientific crap out the wazoo. So when they get to this one particular zone in our story, they find that, let's say, you get the solar system, our solar system, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Pluto. I'm still counting it. I don't care what they say. And all of it has been used, eaten, consumed somehow to make a single in the center floating object about the size of Jupiter that's just a massive big diamond, green looking diamond, semi-translucent. That's it. There's nothing else. And it's down to like the atomic level. There's just no molecules whatsoever around this thing. That it's just a void zone except for this one thing, which is kind of cool. They're freaking out like, how was this even possible? And she's like, well, they don't follow any of the rules we know. She even has like a line where she's saying that she studies like ancient things, but that it's got to be hard on the physicist because every day they go to these new places and the physicist is just looking at things that upend everything that they've ever known. So, great science fiction stuff. What they do, she looks at it, they think, they extrapolate, they guess. We have these protomolecule aliens who will use an entire planet. This is Illis. Illis was an entire planet made to be a factory for X part, X mineral, whatever I forget what it was. It was like a fuel. It's all they needed the whole planet for. They had a fake moon that was part of the integrated system that is this factory. So the ring gate opens to this planet, and the whole planet's been remodeled to be this factory. This is the scale that whatever this entity or aliens were worked at. They'll have another one that just does one thing, right? It produces one thing, and somehow it all aggregates. So with that in mind, they look at this big diamond, and one of them theorizes that it could be like a backup drive, that there's some science that says you could store information, data on diamond, and that a diamond of this size could be the whole network. It could be everything, all their history. So that's exciting. She presents this to the commander because she's not fully in charge. That commander's like, well, that's not a weapon. It's interesting. So we're still going to go through with our test. And now she's angry. Because what they do is they'll get a void zone and then they test it. The test being, they get the catalyst. That's what they call it. Now, all the protomolecules talk to each other at, what do they say? They theorize that the protomolecule talks to itself via quantum entanglement, but that through various technology, various shieldings, you know, uranium shielding and Faraday fields, etc., electricity, they've isolated a small chunk of it that says, I can't communicate with any other bits. And so it goes dormant. They did that. Then they shoved that into people. How many times they did this, I have no idea, because it'll kill you. It just sort of consumes you. They did this until they got to one lady who it didn't consume, who didn't turn into a weird vomit zombie who just spews out more protomolecules. She's just sort of inert. That's the catalyst. They leave her in a weird room. They bring her to these zones that are detached. They open the door and see if her Wi-Fi, they see if her Wi-Fi essentially will connect, and see what happens. You know, if it activates a planet, if it turns on a factory, if blows up, then they know something. Then they're looking. That's what they do. The commander, I forget his name, the commander of this particular thing then says we have an extra test to do. The ring gates have a weight limit. After so much size, weight, mass gets moved through a ring, after that limit, it absorbs whatever that is you're going to send through. So if you send 15 ships and the 15th is too many, all of them that are in transit just dematerialize and go who knows where. This happened for like 4 books now. They call it going Dutchman. But it's gone. So if you don't want to be gone, you maintain the weight limit. What Duarte's plan is to initiate that action. And just before everything goes, to send a couple of special ships. These special ships will be loaded with a antimatter bomb to go to whatever that other place is, wherever they're sending them, and explode. He seems to think you need to do something to your enemy, and if you get a reaction, then you can start a negotiation. Why he thinks this, I have no idea. I gotta say, it's just like massive hubris. The things these things are able to do are literally outside the bounds of physics. And the Elvie lady is basically saying it to him. But it's outside the bounds of physics. So there's nothing saying, like if I sent the bomb, it'd even be a bomb on the other side. There's nothing saying that bomb even hurts him. There's nothing saying how he might interpret said bomb. You have no idea. But they want something to happen so that they can start fixing something. They sent this thing through and they think, there it is, it's a success. His version of success is that it starts, I believe, the gamma chain reaction. That might have done it, not the catalyst. Something in the test did. In any case, the end result is, you could say it's an acceleration, but we don't exactly know what it is. Because the slow zone, instead of just being a black void, becomes this weird swirly mass. That's what they describe it like. Ink colors on water or something like this. Just this weird swirling mass. Everyone in it evaporates. Every ship that was in there, their big warship that was in there, as well as Medina Station, which was the old Mormon ship, the Nauvoo. They got taken over and turned into a space station that was like your inside hub control. Just all gone. Just all gone. Along with a couple of ring gates. The ring gate leading to, I think, the Crystal, the Diamond Planet, and another one. On top of that, all the other ones then shift. Like, let's say they're equidistance and 2 are missing. We shift a little to maintain equidistance. So every ring gate moved. 2 are gone. Everything inside the slow zone, gone. Battleship, gone. Add to it, the Falcon gets hit with something, and so when the thing hits, it can make you black out, lose time. This one sort of blacked out, and then things just started to disappear. They describe it like an artist randomly with an eraser. Only it's erasing metal pieces of the ship. Half a smudge of chair just gone. You know, this much from the roof through down 4 floors, just sort of gone. Just whole pieces of the ship just at random. There's no rhyme or reason. It's not taking a bunch of bolts. It's not looking at A-frames. Just random bits. But it doesn't stop there for the ship. It starts taking random pieces of people. For her, like a big gouge of leg is just... She starts bleeding like crazy. One guy's head just comes off and goes away. Arms. Her husband's leg gets taken off. Just a random smattering. Some people may not be hurt. Some people are half gone. The other half's just there, bleeding. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Add to this, it also hit everyone else. So billions of people on Earth, millions throughout the colonies, people just randomly in space. Whoosh. Blackout for about 20 minutes. The first blackout in one of the other books was like 3 minutes. 3 minutes of lost time. This one was like 20 minutes. Just every human just zoned out. Boom. Blip. So you're like, yo! Massive moves. And this book does this to you. These moments, and they, for whatever reason, they always take me by surprise. I get used to one, like, we're talking about ships, and then alien crap happens, then I get used to alien and crap, and we get back to the ships. It's very fun back and forth. Another of our points of view is Teresa. This is the daughter of Duarte, the emperor, and he's sort of training her to be his replacement, were anything to happen to him, but he's planning on being immortal, so we don't see anything happening to him. We get a good view of sort of, I guess, the inside of Laconia, but through her we get this weird shift people can make, where, and again, it ties into her being 14, where the world looks one way and then real quickly it can look another, alien to you, not right. She also has a friend. She says she sneaks out, which, I never buy. And lo and behold, they were tracking her the whole time. But she says she has a friend named Timothy. Now here, on the whole of the books, because I have them all on audiobook, this is the one moment I'm like, I wonder about the audio. Here's what I mean. She goes to meet her friend Timothy. And he says, hey, Tiny, how's it going? But it's the narrator will do a voice for every of the characters. We're 7-8 books in. So he did Amos's voice. So I instantly know this is Amos. The book doesn't tell you this till fairly later on. So now it's in text form. Would I have picked up on this being Amos? I think I would have. I'm fairly perceptive when it comes to these things. These writers are very proficient. So I think I'd have picked it up. But would I have picked it up as quickly? I'm not sure. So now I'm like, is this cheating? Right? Is this a cheat for the audiobook? Is it just like an Easter egg fun moment audiobook people can have? I'm not sure. The only thing I settled on was that the authors are, still alive. And they must have given this some kind of okay. Again, this is hazy too, because a lot of times things get out of authors' hands. So I know for certain, if you sell the rights to make a movie of your book, I say I know for certain like I did it. I haven't. I've heard enough of this story where you sell the rights, you just don't have any say on that. But this is publishing, and some of it, you don't have the say on covers, etc. sometimes. So I wonder about how much creative control they had over this. I do know that this was a moment, and I felt real good about it because we think he's just lost, and then of course he's not, because you're like, there's no way Amos can go down that easy. He ends up being her friend. Now, when this big event happens, he feels it. I think he senses it. He's very aware, and he tells her, you got to go back home because they're going to be looking for you. They do look for her. They take her, from the woods right to her father. And I didn't see this coming at all. Her father, Duarte, is just zoned out. Like, I get like an Alzheimer's vibe, just like, let's say the lights are on, but no one's home. He's not interacting with people anymore. He's been dousing himself with protomolecule to try and live forever. That's been working. This event just like flared the protomolecule up, or something. We don't know. We just know he's kind of glowy, and he has like not 1,000-yard stare, but a stare into a wonderland that no one else can see. That's the vibe we get from him. But he won't respond. Here's the leader of the biggest empire. It's going through these massive hits, and their leader, is just unresponsive. And you're just like, well, we spent a book or two building this guy up, and now he's just out of the game. It's just it's almost a wild of punch. Is the punch the protomolecule hit. It's very freaking cool. I think the other points of view are going to be Naomi, Bobby, and Alex. These are the three, I guess, crewmen who are not locked down. Timothy, aka Amos, is stuck on the planet. There's no getting off. They sent him with a mini nuke to, I guess, nuke the planet, but he didn't. Holden, who's stuck in prison. Teresa, who's just the daughter. She's not going to leave anytime soon. We have our crew that are working from the outside. They're part of the rebellion. And they have differing views on how this rebellion should go. Bobby, the old soldier, wants to just keep hitting. Her and Saba, the old OPA, want to keep hitting. Naomi is looking at the whole picture and saying, I don't see a win condition. It's so much things locked in so many ways their favor that we should work to get our people on the inside as government officials, this and that, and then work to change its ideas from the inside out. That's her idea. Until, of course, the event happens, and then just the roles completely change. Bobby. They go on a mission and get one of the antimatter bombs. And so Bobby's like, I could use this to take out their last ship, their last big ship that's in. It was around Earth just as a show of force. But then we know behind the scenes Duarte's been zonked out. So they want that ship now back on Laconia. So we're sort of consolidating. The admiral, forget his name. The admiral went ahead, but the ship's following behind. So they want to use the ship that they stole from the Laconians as the bait to get the enemy ship to follow. Then hidden underneath, they'll send a small 2-man ship with the bomb, launch the bomb, and then, of course, take out the big ship. This is working fine until there's damage. It damaged the rocket, so Bobby has to go, basically hand deliver this bomb. And you do feel it as it's coming, like, don't think there's a way for her to get out of this. And then there isn't. She uses the propulsion of her suit to line the missile up, sets its proximity charge, and then just sort of sends it. Then she just dive bombs at the ship, shooting with her suit's guns, and gets taken out. You see it that way from her point of view, what was left of it. Then you see it from Alex's point of view, where they're watching the radar. They see her, like ducking and weaving from these shots, and they just get taken out by one of these ship's rounds. And then that's it. That's the end of Bobby. We cut to, when it's Alex talking about it. He's saying it just like you're feeling it. You feel real bad. Tear up a little bit that Bobby goes down. Tear up when they bring it back up, when him and Naomi get back to the Rosie. It's a rough one. But it's the way she would go down. She was a Marine through and through. And she took out an untakeoutable ship. A ship that took on the entire Earth's fleet. She took out herself, basically. Single-handedly, essentially. And then got, blasted by it. It's very sad, though. But you see it coming. But it doesn't make it any less. You also see Amos go down. Amos gets captured. But he's never ever going to be captured. He just goes head first. It describes him shot in the head, shot in the chest, and down goes Amos. You don't feel as bad for this one, but only because it's Amos and you're kind of like, yeah, that's about how I thought he'd go down. He was never going to pretend to be captured. We'll cut to a little later in the book, way later. Turns out it wasn't dead. And you feel real great about this. Again, if we had reversed these and this happens to Bobby, I wouldn't have liked it as much as it happened into Amos. One, because Amos is part of the OG crew, but two, because, let me describe. He's in one of the pro-molecule ruins. And in the ruins, there are these little drones. They call them repair drones. They're just pre-automated and they're going to do what they're going to do. But the protomolecule almost doesn't differentiate between mechanized and human flesh, organic. To it, I guess organic is just a different type of mechanization. So that when he was shot, they grab the girl, they run, they leave the body. The drones are just like, this is a broken mechanism. And they fix it. And so in that sense, Amos is now back alive. Or is he alive? That's a question we have. He has weird skin and completely black eyes. It's very fun. You're very happy he's still there, though. I'm like, nah, that's my boy. If my boy goes down and he comes back as a semi-protomolecule guy, I'm going to take it. Because I'm happy. On the planet, there is... Did I get this doctor's name? Cortázar. He is the scientist in charge of trying to turn Duarte into an immortal being. He got it in his head to, like, I should be immortal too, right? And he became real obsessed with this. So Elvie gets sent to work with him, and then, you see his, like, evil doctor's lair, which is just a horror zone. Horror zone being. The same thing that happened to Amos, where some repair bots saved him, happened to two kids who were colonists before the Laconians came. And they're just essentially still kid-looking. He, for his setup, wants to say they're no longer human. Ergo, I can do whatever weird test I want on them. And he's been doing horror show tests on them for who knows how many years. Elvie's like, now that looks like a kid. It's acting like a kid. I'm not going to treat it bad. So she starts talking to him, and he's like, I don't like that you're treating my lab rats like they're real. In the course of her interacting with him and looking at various things, she learns that he wants more test subjects. At some point, he wants to get a hold of Duarte to chop him up and see about, learning more from him. He wants to get a hold of the girl, Teresa, chop her up, learn more about it, eternal life from her. And he's happy that he's got Amos now, so that he can chop him up and learn from this adult body, something he couldn't learn from these kid bodies. He's just he doesn't care about anything else. Very obsessed with it. Of course, Elvie tries to tell everyone who will listen, and everyone's like, I can't do anything about that. I need my emperor back. So she tells the girl, and it's a 14-year-old girl, so she starts spooling out of her mind. But she also tells no, she doesn't. The girl goes right to her father and is like, that guy's trying to kill me. But nothing happens. Like he's just still spaced out. Cut to, and again, you think this Cortázar is going to be an issue. They have this other ship explode, and they're like, we need a press release from the big cheese himself. So we're going to record him and then like face modify so that it looks like he's talking. But we have to do this small lie to appease the people. So they all show up and they're getting them prepped. And he looks at like the Cortázar guy. And he's like, like acting like I'm a subject of the emperor. Duarte, in his weird state, looks at him and then just like, you're thinking like, oh, he knows, right? It's coming to his head. He just like touches him in the chest, right? He touches him in the chest and the guy's head just explodes. That's it. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do anything. He's just like, touch you on the chest, head explode. And then he just sits down like, I'm still staring at this wonder landscape. And everyone else in the room is like, if you were talking normal and then you look and see like a tiger, but the tiger's not moving. So you just go, tiger. And they slowly just leave the room. I laugh, but I'm like, he was a douchebag. He deserved to go down. And gets Elvie in charge of his station, which she takes because it's a higher position. Somebody goes, like the lead guy's like, okay, we're not going to do a video. I'm just going to do a press release. And the other guy's like, we're not going to talk about that? We got to go kill that guy. We got to go kill that thing. It can't just wander around. The guy gets his gun and hands it to him and says, you go ahead and kill him if you think he's still killable. The guy doesn't go in there to try it, though. I'm like, bro, the rules are different. The protomolecule can self-heal. There's nothing saying you bomb him, he's going to die. We don't know what the crap that is in that room, but they just close the door and leave. I'm like, oh, so it was a great moment. Absolutely wonderful moment. Speaking of wonderful moments, and it was affecting me without me knowing it. Bobby dies. That ship Alex is piloting was hers. Gets a new captain, and he's like, you know what? I can't. I'm gonna move back to my old ship. Naomi does the same thing almost at the same time. Like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the Rossi. And so Alex goes by himself. It's in dry dock, and he's doing all the prep work to get it up to snuff to be able to be lifted out of the planet. They left it on freehold in like a weird cave out of nowhere, out of the way. So then she meets back up with him. They take their time to reorientate the ship. Then they get it back into space, and they're like, as it's launching, Naomi's feeling what you're feeling. You're like, this is what I've been missing. This is why Bobby died. My ship doesn't have its captain. It doesn't have its crew. And when they were all together, it all worked out. When we start moving pieces around, we don't have the Rossi. Nothing's working right. Let's get back on the Rossi. I feel real great. Even with just them two, it feels like things can start to work out. Because the Rossi back in the game. It's an old ship now. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Old salty sea dog's going to make it happen. With everything gone, someone needs to sort of step into the power vacuum. And the sooner you do it, the better. And Naomi's like, I'm going to just take this moment and do it. I have an idea. So she sort of announces to the underground, I'm Naomi Nagata, who's famous already because she's been hanging out with Holden and the Rossi crew. And they helped save Earth. And they went through the gate first, etc., etc. So she's famous enough to take this spot. And she says, I'm going to be in charge. Then, before the Laconians can readjust, before they can reorientate themselves, She wants to take the fight to them. And so she gathers up as many of the ships as she can. She puts the call out. She doesn't know how many are going to show up, but a bunch start showing up. And it's just pre-planned, a bunch of maneuvers. And in this, you're like, this is how people live on, right? Bobby, she can hear Bobby in her head when she's thinking of tactics, even though Bobby's gone, because they hung out for 30 years. Such great energy. She's like, you can't beat them. You got to beat them down into a state where they accept that's what they have to do. You're beating almost the hope out of them. How do we get them to the table? I don't want to genocide a people, but I need them back down to our level, and then I could be magnanimous, and then the conversation can happen, and then we have re-equilibrium. So with all the ships, some of these are former Earth Coalition ships, some of these are big dreadnoughts, etc. Some are just smaller freight OPA ships. They go in, and her plan isn't Laconia. It's not to bomb the city. It's to bomb the ship-making ability that they have. They want those platforms destroyed. If they can't make their super ships, then they're just like the rest of us. Advanced, yes, but not overwhelmingly powerfully advanced. And that's what she does. It's just a great space battle that takes, I don't know, like a week or 2 or 3. It's very involved. She baits one of the ships way out, pulls everything back, is going to bomb the facilities, and everyone left alive is just going to get out. Completely unexpected in the tactics. Of course, in the middle of this, she gets a emergency evac from Amos's transponder. It could be a trap. They don't know what it is. So they're like, we got to land. It's her, it's Alex, it's the Rossi. There's no way, even if there's half a chance, they got to land. Well, what was happening is the girl, or Teresa, is like, I'm not going to sit here and get killed by this guy. She doesn't know he got his head vaporized. She's just going to make a move. She's getting out. So she busts Holden out of jail, runs and gets the transporter out, not the transporter, the signal from the facility, and is running out to the pickup location. It's just like a hill X amount of miles away from town. It's not that far, but, wilderness, it instantly becomes wilderness. So they run out there, and this is where we learn Amos is still alive, because her number one handler shows up and is like, we're not doing this. And Amos, kills the crap out of those guys. She's happy to see him, even though he looks weird. She's used to weird stuff growing up. Holden's not sure what he's seeing. But then here come Land the Rossi, and my beloved crew is back together. And now they got the girl. Her plan was to trade Holden for safe passage out, but it's the Rossi, so they just accept her with open arms. So her plan's already weirdly off. As they're lifting off and they're making their way out, the big evil to-do ship catches up faster than they anticipated. And they're dead to rights. That's it. There's no way out. But the girl gets on the mic, and she just starts throwing her weight around. Like, my dad sent me on a special mission with the head of the resistance for discussions that are above your pay grade. And she's like, I can't do that. And she's like, the F you can't? My last name's Duarte, and you're going to do what I say. I can't. She goes, then blow me up. And she just cuts the mic. Of course, the lady knows who the girl is. She's not going to blow her up. They all get out. Everyone gets out. I'm like, what a fantastic way for this book to end. Other than Bobby dying. Rip Bobby. My crew is back together. My beloved Rossi crew's back together. The Laconians are down on their knees. Things look like they could work out. Other than, of course, now, the tail end of it is we need a conversation with Amos. No one wants to talk about it, but his eyes are completely like glossy black, and his skin's kind of ashen. So he kind of looks like a weird alien zombie. And so like, Holden's the captain, you gotta go ask. So he's like, are you my Amos? Or are you okay? And Amos's response is just like, yep. Are you my Amos? Sure am. Just he has no qualms about it. Everyone else is like, are you a freaky entity? Are you this? Are you that? He's like, look, weird crap happened to me. Looks like you're having a hard time just accepting yes. Weird stuff happened to you. Naomi's different. We're all kind of different. I just look a little freaky. I'm fine. And then he's like, but I'm also seeing some stuff that I didn't normally see. And he goes, those things, yeah, they're going to kill us all. That's how like the book ends. It's just like this ominous warning. And you're like, it's a great action-packed book. It's great science fiction. It really is. I love that Amos is still alive, but has some weird proto-molecule thing. He might outlive them all now. Who knows? Who knows what the rules are? But it seems about right. What is it? They asked him about the nuke, the pocket nuke. They sent him to the planet to nuke it. He met the girl. Didn't know who she was. Just it's a kid. And then he's like, all right, I'm not blowing the planet up. And that's Amos in a nutshell. He can be just as vicious, psycho killer as anyone. But he can also just be protective of kids to the nth degree. And you're like, you can't just be all bad if you're going to go that hard to protect a kid. He bails on his own mission to bomb an entire city that's the head of their biggest enemy just because one girl's there. And he's like, wouldn't have felt right. And Naomi's like, all right, you're right. It all ended up working out. Now I got one more book, and I'm both sad and happy it's coming. I'm probably going to start it today, to be honest with you. These are your beloved ads. These are my books. Okay, the question is, are my books better than The Expanse? I would say, I can't say they are. They're not. If you had to buy one, I say go buy The Expanse. But my books are cheaper. They're different, I'd say. I think they're good and fun. Also, as a side note, you can get them all on the Kindle Unlimited. This isn't an ad. It's just a mechanism you can use to read them all. You wouldn't own them, but then you could read other books and then get value and not be out money. That seems fair. It's like Spotify for books. So you have the two options. Both options help the channel. Liking and subscribing helps the channel. Commenting helps. But hey, if you just want to watch, just watch. We're a no pressure zone here. Okay, people. I'll talk to you all next week.